Hello, fellow Earthlings. This is Earthling 6455463728. And we're talking about Robert Downey Jr. and Megyn Kelly. Is there a comparison? Unfortunately, I had started speaking and I lost the recording of what I was doing, so I have to start over. But let me just get back into the meat of it. Basically, I don't think that there's any fair comparison between the situation with Robert Downey Jr. wearing blackface and Megyn Kelly getting fired for discussing blackface and having a inconsiderate opinion of having an inconsiderate opinion on blackface, whether or not people could do it or whether or not it was okay to do it or whatever the case might be. I don't think that there's a proper comparison between the two. Step one, Megyn Kelly has worked for a news company, Fox News, that does not have the most considerate opinion of with respect to race and other matters. It's not a progressive kind of institution. So there's that. Aside from that, Megyn Kelly herself has had issues on the same topic as in race. She has said things that were inflammatory, inconsiderate, whatever the case might be, with respect to, kids, Jesus is white, Santa Claus is white. Santa Claus maybe, but Jesus would not have been a European Jew because European Jews would not have existed. So he would not exactly be considered European, quote unquote, white. So that's not really accurate. Santa Claus should have been an elf originally. Now he is not an elf, but he is whatever you want him to be. Honestly, for Megyn Kelly to say unequivocally, this is where we are. I mean, that's kind of unfortunate that she would have gone down that road because Santa Claus evolved. I guess she didn't realize that he evolved from being nothing and nobody into something. I mean, yes, maybe Saint Nicholas, the saint, participated or had some basis in the idea of Santa Claus, but he was an elf. He was, Rudolph and all these things come from commercial origins and from poems and all this other stuff. So he has evolved. Even the suit that he wears comes from a commercial, as far as I know, the red and white suit and all these other things. So Santa Claus has evolved, and there's no reason why he shouldn't evolve even further unless you have a particular point of view about race, because I guess when he evolved in all these other ways, nobody minded. But when he evolved in this specific way, people were like, no, that's a little bit too far. Okay, fine. At any rate, so Megyn Kelly has history. And then furthermore, I mean, she should have known. She would have had these things happen before, and she should have known that here she is in controversial waters, in a controversial topic perhaps, and she is not in the same company as before, where her ideas and attitudes or feelings about particular things would have been, people would have been in her corner. So I guess it's a fault on hers to not realize that she was in a different place, in a different space, to not continue to be the same type of person as she was, especially as her ratings were not good at the time. She was in that period of time, that, what do you call it, a trial period. So she should have probably been a little bit more concerned. And furthermore, there was no, as far as I recall, there weren't any black people in the discussion. That's a huge thing. The reason why it's huge is because that's what happened in Tropical Thunder. I'm sorry if it's something else, but I remember it as Tropical Thunder. So that was the thing. Robert Downey Jr. had no history. He had no history with respect to him personally making inflammatory comments. He had no history for working for a company or institution or individuals who had a particular controversial point of view or position. He was just a regular actor with no history, no baggage, who came to do this performance. And as people have said, it is a caricature, it's a satire. Maybe you're supposed to be allowed to say certain things when you're in a satire. But beyond that, as I was saying, there was a black person in that movie who was saying everything that black people would have wanted to say about what the character he was playing was doing. So he had that pushback and backlash from right there. So, and if you listen to Robert Downey Jr. on Joe Rogan's show, he'll say that Ben Stiller, great, I love Ben Stiller, he has funny movies. I thought Tropical Thunder was edgy, very edgy with respect to that. But at the same time, I love Ben Stiller, he's funny. And he was saying that Ben Stiller had a bigger problem, got more flack for what he was doing with respect to playing a mentally challenged person than he did in playing the role in blackface. And another thing to it is that the blackface that Robert Downey did, it was so good to me that I think if you went into that movie not knowing, hey, this is Robert Downey Jr., you might have thought it was really a black person. And that's the thing. It was so well done. And further, the reveal at the end where the guy is taking off I guess you call it a wig or so, the afro, that, and he didn't know, like, what character am I? Am I this person? Am I that person? And he has these startling blue eyes. It just shows you that, yeah, it's part of an actor taking on this role. But back to Ben Stiller. Ben Stiller did not have an on-screen person from the community giving him flack at the time the way that Robert Downey's character had from the black actor who was giving him flack on the screen for what he was doing. So it wasn't going to be, there wasn't any representation there. If there had been a mentally challenged person on the set, on the movie, saying what mentally challenged people would have wanted to say, hey, this is stupid, why did you take that role, why did you do this? Mentally challenged people are not like that. And I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong. Maybe if there's another way of putting it. But yeah, I think it would have gone completely differently for him, Ben Stiller, if there had been somebody who had a seat at the table. It would have been completely different, I think. And he would not have gotten that much flack, which just kind of shows that they just kind of accidentally were able to make Robert Downey's performance be okay because they had that black person there. I don't think Ben Stiller really had thought it out. It easily could have been a very horrendous thing if they didn't have that black person in the movie to say how everybody was feeling and thinking and whatever. So, but yeah, Megyn Kelly does not have any of it. The stuff that she said was not satirical. The positions and the controversies that she was in was never satirical. All right, she went backwards to say, oh no, I was just playing around, this was just a joke, or whatever the case is. But not really. She was at a company that was known for having particular positions. She had bad ratings at the time that she was doing that stuff, and there was no black person present to give pushback and say, hey, Megyn, maybe you think it was okay, but it was never okay. And I think you should have asked people to whom it was relevant if it was ever okay. Because it doesn't matter if Megyn Kelly thought that it was okay. It matters if the people who could potentially be offended thought it was okay. So I think it's on so many levels, there's no comparison between the two of them on this. And I understand that Megyn Kelly will never understand that. She will never understand and appreciate that there are stark differences between the two situations. And that's unfortunate, but that's how life is, I guess. Anyway, like I said, I saw that on Phil DeFranco was talking about it, and as I had seen the interview, and yeah, this is another one that I wanted to do at some point. I wanted to think of Will Smith and Robert Downey Jr. Robert Downey Jr. is coming off of a great stint of playing Iron Man. Everybody loves him. Everybody loved the last movie. To appear in such a stinker as Doolittle. And Will Smith is coming off of a stinker with respect to Gemini Man. To get it, I mean, it's not comparable, but to get so much laurels for Bad Boys. Not that it was like, some groundbreaking movie, but it was interesting. And I wanted to talk about that at some point. But as usual, I guess I'm going to stick with this. I was thinking, I'm going to stick with this. I'll say it some other time. Wish me lucks. So you can like or unlike. You can comment about your liking or unliking. You can subscribe and you can share. And I'd appreciate if you do any, each, or all of them. Thanks. Peace.